Hey friends. I'm clearly on a kick of some kind because I had a very similar experience in meditation this morning as I did yesterday morning, which I spoke about on my post. And this morning I had another hilarious image pop into my mind that I'll try to explain, but I was thinking back to, basically what I had listened to this lecture by Sadhguru 2 nights ago, and the crux of it was, or the crux of my takeaway was, how in the yogic system, yogic sciences, thought is given almost no attention and no real emphasis, because it's understood that thought is completely composed of material that's being projected onto the thought plane by the body and the energetic system and these other sources of memory, karma, that are far more fundamental than thought. So like the image that came to me yesterday was that, like trying to fix ourselves by adjusting our thoughts is like trying to change a movie by going over to the screen and trying to grab hold of the parts of the movie and move them around, right? Probably not going to work, because there's a whole other entity projecting those images. So, and I just found that I found that a really compelling set of images, both the ones that Sadhguru talked about and the ones that then kind of bubbled up in my own awareness, because they really help me put thought down. They help me, and as someone who's certainly, gotten fixated on my thoughts at various points in my life, it's really helpful to have some tools and some it's like insights that dislodge me from that position of holding on to what I think. And what came this morning was kind of a continuation of that, because I realized, I'm sitting in meditation and a series of images is coming up. And the theme, it's one of these things where a lot of times I'll be sitting in meditation and thoughts will be happening, and for a while maybe I'm just kind of unconsciously cruising the thoughts, like I'm almost like surfing. I'm barely noticing what they are, but it's meditation, so that's I do ideally remember, oh right, no, this is not actually a thought surfing exercise. This is the exercise of remaining in presence, remaining in consciousness, connecting with the dimension of myself beyond time and space. And I can do that, and then immediately, almost immediately when that happens, it's like all the thought content gets reframed. And this morning, what I noticed was the series of images was all about me being right. Not that I was necessarily making anyone else wrong in the film in my mind, but it's what I love about this exercise, and what I love about the understanding that I've gained through this process is that it's like you can start to read your own subconscious. Our own subconscious is always saying something. It's never not saying something. But we can very easily miss what it's saying. But if we just take sort of the thoughts and actions and behaviors and everything at face value, It can easily feel like, oh, we're just living our life for these reasons, but no, there's always this other layer where as soon as I go there, I'm like, oh God, yes, oh wow, it's all about me being right. And then the image that showed up was that scene from Blazing Saddles. There's this Mel Brooks movie, Blazing Saddles, where they're all in the room, they're trying to decide what to do, and it's like, and they're all named Johnson. It's like Harold Johnson says something, and then Jimmy Johnson stands up and said, Harold Johnson is right. And then the next person stands up and says, Jimmy Johnson is right about Harold Johnson being right. And they're all the same. They all have the same name, and they're all saying that each other is right. It's like a harumph fest. Well, that's what the inside of my head sounds like. Now you know. And it's all named Robin. it's all me. Hilarious. And what kind of, what that crystallized into was coming back to what Sadhguru had talked about with why we value thought so highly, and basically the conclusion that he's drawing, or the data that he's drawing this from, he's basically saying, what he said was, it used to be that people were kept in essentially slavery, servitude, by not being allowed to be educated. And so then when education became intellectual development, intellectual education became widespread, it started to feel as though intellectual education and the mind, the capacity to think, was like the crowning achievement of the human capacity. It's what gives us our freedom. And on some level, there might be some truth to that. But it completely attaches us to thought in a totally disproportionate way. But what I took from that was, if intellectualism, if we have a foundation of kind of valuing thought so highly, then we're set up to think that being right is incredibly important. Being right in what we think and not being wrong in what we think. And if you look at our culture right now, man, does that sound like it might be true? Like it's really, really important to everyone that they be thinking the right thoughts about the world and the people in it and what should be happening? Looks like that to me. We all seem to feel very, very strongly that our position and our mental position is the right one. Not to defend or attack any position within that, but just what I'm kind of observing is how fixated we are on that level of understanding, as opposed to the yogic system, where none of that really kind of matters that much. It's like, we're developing our consciousness. We're connecting with the dimension that is way beyond thought, even beyond the subconscious and unconscious karma that we're carrying. We're trying to connect with the dimension of us that's prior to all of that. So what we happen to think on the intellectual level is really kind of not, it's just not invested in the same way. And so then, as I sort of this morning, as I was kind of cruising through this series of insights and hearing myself tell myself how right I am, that's when this next kind of wave came along. I was like, oh, maybe that's why I care so much about being right. Maybe I don't need to worry so much about being right. And I think I said this yesterday too. I really have had the sense that I've been able to let go on that level a little more in recent days and weeks. I've had the sense that my mind stuff is becoming a little less important to me. I'm kind of letting it go. Doesn't mean I'm not still, probably attached to some things and whatnot, but there's just a sense of like being willing to let go, being and kind of sensing there's something just much more important going on. So I don't want to be distracted by the mind, because that's just gonna keep me looking the wrong way. It's just gonna keep my focus on the thing that's not the real thing. As I was saying yesterday, it's like looking at the model of the building instead of the actual building, looking at my personality and how right I am, as opposed to expanding into what I truly am, which so far it just completely transcends by orders of magnitude whatever that fixation would be, whatever that little mental fixation would be, however important it is and however important it might seem. There's a domain so vastly beyond it that it just makes it pales in significance. So that's been a really nice thing to settle into, and I'm grateful for these images that have been coming through, because they keep kind of giving me one more layer of understanding and one more way of laughing at myself, which I think is always important. It's so much easier to let go of something in ourselves when we can laugh at our fixation, as opposed to feel shame around it or feel judged because we have it, or feel like something's wrong. All of us are trying to correct the things that are wrong with us. And and a lot of times that's where we get that's how we start. We kind of have to take an honest look and be willing to say, well, here's what I don't like, or whatever. But there's also a point at which if we can find it hilarious, it's going to be easier to let go of. And I'm appreciating that. I'm appreciating that approach. For some reason, I keep coming back to like farcical comedy movies, and that's what the inside of my brain feels like. I'm just reporting what I see. I'm not doing this on purpose. Who knows? But anyway, that's what showed up today. So, thanks for watching, folks. I appreciate you. Love you. Appreciate this conversation. I will see you tomorrow. Have a great day.